It's such an honor to be with all of you today. 10 years ago, I sat in the very seats that you're sitting in, graduated with my MBA from Wharton. Though mine didn't have an E in front of it, so it wasn't extra hard like all of yours was. You balanced classes on top of full-time work, family, and life. Congratulations on this incredible accomplishment. I also want to take a moment to thank all of the parents, partners, and family members who made this day possible. Would you please join me in a round of applause for those loved ones who are here? Today I want to share a few lessons that I learned from my time at Wharton in the last 10 years that I hope you can take with you as you go on to the next chapter in your lives. Lesson 1. Just because someone tells you that you're out of options doesn't mean that you actually are. During medical school, I became critically ill with a rare disease called Castleman disease, and my doctors even told me, "David, we've tried everything. There's nothing more we can do." But I was so sick, I didn't really know what they meant until my family started saying their final goodbyes to me and a priest read me my last rites. That moment became the beginning of what I call my overtime. The bonus time I didn't think that I would have, where I try to make the most of every single second. At the time I was 25 years old, I was a healthy third-year medical student who had decided to dedicate my life to becoming a doctor after I lost my mom to cancer. But all of a sudden, I was now dying of a disease I'd never even heard of called Castleman disease, where your immune system attacks and shuts down your vital organs for an unknown cause. There were no treatments and no cures. In a last-ditch effort to save me, my doctors gave me a combination of 7 chemotherapies that weren't made for my disease. Somehow they worked, I survived, and I returned to medical school here at Penn. But then I relapsed, again and again. 5 times in 3 years, I nearly died from my disease. From these experiences, I learned that you need at least 3 things to endure life's greatest challenges. The first is that you have to have a vision for what you're fighting for. For me, it was a dream of a life with my then-girlfriend, Caitlin, and of curing diseases in memory of my mom. Second, you need an amazing team by your side supporting you along the way. My family never left my side. And third, you need to take things one step at a time, or in my case, one breath at a time. So that brings me to my second lesson. Solutions are often hiding in plain sight. During my 3rd relapse, I promised my family that I would dedicate the rest of my life, however long that might be, to trying to find a treatment for my disease. And I remember telling one of my doctors about my plans to try to find a treatment for me, and he replied to me that I probably had about a 1 in a million chance to find a treatment. And after he said that, all I could think about is that great quote from Lloyd Christmas in Dumb and Dumber, "So you're saying there's a chance." But there was one pretty big problem. I didn't have $1 billion in 15 years to develop a brand new drug. But then I thought, if those 7 chemotherapies, which weren't made for my disease, had saved my life, maybe there was another drug made for another disease that could also be repurposed to save me too. Now, this idea of repurposing isn't a new one. You may have heard that Viagra was repurposed from heart disease to its well-known use. But did you know it's also now utilized for a rare pediatric lung disease, saving the lives of thousands of children that would have died? And thalidomide, once known for causing horrible birth defects, is now utilized for leprosy and the cancer of multiple myeloma, again saving thousands of lives. So I started studying my own blood in the lab with this idea that maybe I could find a repurposed drug. I discovered that a communication line in my immune system was turned into overdrive, and I found that there was a decades-old transplant drug called sirolimus that I thought might be able to turn it off. It had never been used before for my disease, but I was truly out of options. So I began to test it on myself. Before starting sirolimus, I nearly died 5 times in 3 years, but now I've been in remission for over 11 years on this drug. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, if I want to be exact, it's been 136.38 months that I've been in remission. And I say 136.38 months because I know that I can't round up. I could relapse tomorrow and be back in the hospital. But I also refuse to round down because I'm so thankful for every single moment that I have here. During this remission, I married that girlfriend I told you about, Caitlin. We had 2 amazing kids. I wrote a book about my journey chasing my cure, which is now being turned into a film by a Penn grad, Wendy Feinerman. and I joined the faculty at Penn to repurpose drugs for other inflammatory diseases and cancers. Over these years, we've helped advance 14 repurposed drugs for multiple diseases, saving thousands of lives. And with every single patient we save, all I can think about is how many more life-saving drugs are sitting at our local pharmacies that could save and treat more patients today. So as you enter this next chapter in your lives, I hope you'll ask what solutions might be hiding in plain sight in your life or your industry. And I hope you'll have the courage to take the first step to uncover them. Lesson 3, find your Castleman disease. No, I'm not suggesting that you get a crazy, rare inflammatory disorder that could kill you. What I mean is find the challenge that you're willing to pour your life into and chase after it. Castleman disease nearly killed me, but it also gave me purpose. I needed to cure it, and the clock was ticking. I was in overtime. I co-founded the Castleman Disease Collaborative Network and quickly learned that the biggest barriers weren't medical problems. They were business problems, such as a lack of an overarching strategy, limited collaboration, and inefficient spending on research. That's why I came to Wharton, to save my life and to save others. But the skills I learned at Wharton were not enough on their own. I had to build an amazing team, and I had to work relentlessly. The one thing that we all have complete control over is how hard we work, and nothing feels better than a hard-earned win, especially during a difficult time. During difficult times, we're often told to look for silver linings, but my mom always taught me that we shouldn't just look for silver linings, we should look to create silver linings. What is the problem that you're obsessed with solving or that you're hoping someone will change? Chase after that. Lesson 4, turn your hope into action. My life completely changed when I began reflecting on what I was hoping for and then started taking concrete action that day to create a world closer to the world that I was hoping for. That mindset literally saved my life. But soon after curing my disease and repurposing the first few drugs for other diseases, I found myself hoping again. This time, not just for Castleman disease, but for everyone suffering from a disease that could be treated with an existing drug that's already available. 3 years ago, I co-founded EveryCure, a nonprofit organization that's using AI to unlock the hidden potential of every FDA-approved drug to treat every disease that it possibly can. Our AI platform scans across all 4,000 drugs and all 18,000 diseases to find the most high-impact matches. And then we test them in the lab and in clinical trials, and we work to get them to every patient we possibly can. Because no one should be told we've tried everything when a potential treatment is literally sitting at their local pharmacy. I'll never forget the first patient we treated with a top-scoring drug from our algorithm. His doctor had already put in an order to transfer him to hospice care before we recommended a treatment that has put him into remission now for over 2 years. This is an example of a novel, oh, thank you. Now, this is an example of a novel treatment discovery, but sometimes we find matches where there's actually already good evidence to support them, but they're just not being used. Like leucovorin, a cheap vitamin derivative that can help to improve speech in kids with autism who have antibodies against the folate receptor. There have been 3 randomized controlled trials, and patients like Mason, who was nonverbal for 3 years and began to speak within 3 days of starting this treatment. His first word was more. Yes, incredible, right? It's incredible. His first word that he ever said was more. And as the parent of 2 kids, this really just touched me because my kids are always asking me for more. And I think the parents here can appreciate that that's sort of our job as parents, is to give our kids more. And to imagine a life where a child like Mason wouldn't be able to ask for more, and as a parent not be able to give your kid more, or to be able to have your kid share feelings with you just hits me so hard. And to think that this cheap, simple medicine that can help children to speak isn't used because it doesn't work in our current system. It's not financially viable to advance this cheap old drug. This is why we started EveryCure, to find these solutions that are hiding in plain sight and make sure they can reach every patient they possibly can. So if you find yourself hoping that someone will fix a broken system, I hope you will go fix that system. Based on this MBA and who you guys are, you are in a position to transform industries. Lesson 5, it takes an army to solve big problems. During my MBA, 20 of my classmates spent over 3,000 combined hours volunteering, and over 200 classmates donated funds to our organization. We literally fought Castleman disease together with my Wharton MBA classmates. And many of them continue to support our mission to this day. So instead of calling my book Chasing My Cure, we should have called it Chasing Our Cures, because of everyone working together on this fight. We have built the most amazing team at every cure. And if you haven't decided what you're doing in your next chapter, we're always looking for really great people to join us. We actually have a head of finance role, a head of clinical development role, so please do reach out to me afterwards if you're not sure what you're going to do. Now, as you look to take on major challenges, remember that the people sitting around you and the Wharton Alumni Network will be the first ones to help you. So in closing, I hope you'll leave here today with more than just a diploma. I hope you'll be relentless in your pursuit of everything that you chase after, even if someone tells you there's nothing else we can do. That you'll keep your eyes open for the solutions that are hiding in plain sight, that you'll turn your hope into action. And most importantly, I hope you'll lean on the people around you, your classmates, your loved ones, and your teams, because solving big problems takes an army. You've already accomplished something extraordinary by earning this degree while balancing so much else. But this is just the beginning for you. So find your Castleman disease, chase your cure, and go build the future that you're hoping for. Thank you so much for this incredible honor, and congratulations, Wharton MBA, class of 2025.